Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as DZG take on Dorado Gaming in Week 4 of the Titan Esports League. I'm Jace here, joined with Claire for the very first time, myself casting with her, but also first time for them casting in DZG, period. Claire, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I would say I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited to be here. Excited to watch some League of Legends, especially DZG League of Legends. How are you?
I am doing all right, and I'm also happy that we are already into draft, as Dorado Gaming has taken out Caitlyn Graves and Cassiopeia, some decent AD carry focus there. Meanwhile, DZG have taken out Rumble, Rel, waiting on one more. What do you think so far? The bans slash, what do you think blue side priority pick is going to be today?
I'm not too sure, but judging by the fact that we see such heavy like bot lane bans here, it might just be one of the other lanes just because they want to get it out of the way. See what the play want to have happen here.
Ticking, 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 and boom, Maokai finally joins. The Briar is hovered, but ladies and gentlemen, Briar is actually going to be disabled for this week and the subsequent week, as new champions are a no-no. So we are going to be seeing the Jinzhou locked in for the jungle of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, I think Jinzhou brings a lot to the team composition, especially in this current patch, as he's super strong, especially given that Sojin. So I think this is a pretty solid pick and can definitely do a lot of damage for sure.
Absolutely. So, quick rundown of the rosters. For the side of Dorado Gaming, we have Hazim in the top lane, Godi in the jungle, Sluter in mid lane, Karino and Hashuimi. I will probably just call them Hosh for the rest of the series. On Dorado Gaming for Dreadzone, we have Mobility Scooter in the top lane, Sleeping Giant in the jungle, Mobster Penguin, the big staple for mid lane, Debay, one of my favorite people, J Core in the bot lane for DZG. So it's going to be an awesome series. I am hoping as J4 and Zaya both get locked for the side of Dread Zone.
Yeah, again, saying like the same thing as I said about Jinzhou with Jarvan. Again, super duper strong, especially in the current patch. Can be super strong on the engage, has a lot of survivability in the team fights. And locking in that Zai in the bot lane, not I don't really have too much to say about her. She's just overall a really solid champ, especially right now. Can make a lot happen by herself and like super consistent damage.
Well, we are seeing the Ziggs pick. If you watch the series from last night, you know that is a very viable flex pick there for both mid and AD carry if they want to play the mage. Braum hover in could be likely. Now, one thing that does really excite me here, Claire, is that Jarvan 4 coming into the hands of Sleeping Giant, who is leading the league right now in kill participation with 81%. So definitely expecting to see a lot of flag and drags in the lanes here today.
Yes, you're gonna see a lot of ganks, I can assume, and a lot of engages from the Jarvan as well. And seeing that Ziggs and Alistar, I'm just gonna assume it's a Ziggs ADC. Um, but comboing with Alistar, I'm not too sure how that's gonna work since the Ziggs doesn't combo too well into the Alistar. I would like to think, but definitely could be super powerful.
It does seem like there's a lot of potential desynchronization there with the pulverized headbutt, maybe Satchel charge. It's definitely a lot of displacement. As Zaya gets her lever in the form of Rakan being locked in for DZG, so bot lanes picked up. Potentially, there could still be the flex pick there from the side of DOGG. However, you're probably right with it being the Ziggs bot lane for the protection factor, but there's still more to be said here. DZG take away the Yone, and we're still waiting on more bans from Dog coming in now. But how you feel about this potential bot lane matchup?
I would say that Xayah and Rakan seem a lot more powerful and like can abuse the lane a little bit more, especially with that Jarvan. You have to think about that can cause a lot of problems, especially for the Zig since it doesn't have a ton of movement abilities to get out of there. So if you do miss position, it's kind of over for you in some cases. But that Xayah Rakan are super duper strong and can sync super well.
We saw that coming in a lot yesterday with the over kind of pressure from the bot lane of DZG with the Ziggs, and definitely got punished for it. Now, one thing to note that we do see the Tristana ban coming through, so maybe DZG don't think that that is going to be an 80 carry Ziggs. Could be something potential that the coach CJ is looking at. Now, another thing to note is that could also very well be a takeaway pick from Mobster Penguin, as he has played quite a few games of Ziggs lately on the OP.GG. Now, with the Silas and Malphite bans coming in here, that's an interesting duality of bans. I guess where you take away Malphite's biggest counter, and then you take away Malphite himself. So, interesting priority there, Claire.
It is a bit odd, but really it's up to the players and what they want to do. So they probably got something up their sleeves, I can imagine, waiting for this.
Yeah.
I'm just noting a lot of AD on the side of DZG. A lot.
Well, definitely have the opportunity here to get a really strong control mage, most likely in the hands of mobility. I'm sorry, Mobster Penguin here in the mid lane, and they would definitely need it. Otherwise, it's going to take them a while to shred through. I guess Alistair right now. We see Trenamir being hovered, but we talk about the 80 damage and the potentials there, but Dorado don't really have that tanky of a lineup so far.
Yeah, definitely not quite. Um, Definitely focused on especially that poke damage with that Ziggs, but just does not quite sync up too well with the rest of the composition. It just seems like they'll be out of the fight pretty far. And
Pretty much, yeah. It's everybody wants to go in except Ziggs needs to hang out in Africa and just lob bombs. Now we do see the Akali being added in here, so the only front line besides the pseudo front line of Jinzhou, the Alistair here from the side of Dorado Gaming and DZG with an answer. I really want to see what they want to pick into this Akali.
yeah, no, same. Just wondering what they want to pick. It could be an Orianna potentially, just to get some AP, especially since it's who is very good right now. But we are not quite seeing it quite yet. And it's a
Ooh.
Syndra, which
So, yep, go ahead.
I mean that's the AP damage that we were looking for and can do a lot of in the like with her utility can definitely make a lot of stuff happen. Can combo with the Jarvan and the Rakan quite well.
Absolutely. I asked for Control Mage. I got Control Mage. Now, there's some interesting things that we're going to take a look at here before we head into the game. First off, let's go ahead and break it down. I'm assuming we have Tryndamere in the top lane, Jinzhou in the jungle, Akali mid with a Ziggs Alistar bot lane for Dorado Gaming. For the side of DZG, we have the Scion in the top lane, the Jarvan coming in for the jungle, Syndra in the mid lane with the lovers duo Xayah Rakan in the bot lane. Now we see everything on the board. Claire, who do you feel took the big win in the draft here today?
For the draft, I'm gonna have to go with DZG. It just seems like a more overall rounded composition. Champions. It just seems like the draft can do a lot more in the way of just engaging in fights and succeeding in those fights. They do obviously have that impact of not having a bunch of AP damage, but Syndra, don't get me wrong, can do a bunch of damage. But Dog's composition is just a little bit you know, out there. So I think that it might throw DCG off in some ways.
Yeah, definitely an interesting pick. I don't know, or pick setup rather. I don't know if it's a lot of comfort or they just felt like this is the most cohesive strategy for them to run, but it just very much so looks desynchronized in the team identity, so to speak. One last thing that I want to talk about before we head into our spectator delay here and really pick your brain on. We see the Scion picked, I'm sorry, the Tryndamere picked into the Scion. How do you feel about that top lane matchup today?
I feel like it's gonna be a bit odd because the Scion, obviously, if they want to play tank, which is what I'm assuming they're gonna be doing, is wants to just scale as much as possible. So doesn't really want to fight in the lane. And the Tryndamere does. He's much more of an aggressive champion. So it could be a little bit of a problem for that Scion who just wants to scale a little bit more.
Sounds good here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have all of the champions picked. We are preparing our loadout now, and we're going to be preparing for a delay. Claire, any final closing thoughts before we head into that delay?
I do not have anything else to say quite yet until we get into this game, but I'm excited.
Sounds fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. Hang tight. We'll be bringing you onto the Rift in Game 1 of Titan Esports Week 4, DZG versus Dorado Gaming. Hang tight. And welcome back, everybody. We're hitting the rift as soon as these gates go down, and we'll see what kind of strategy each team wants to employ. Looks like a simple 5-man fan out for both sides, so nothing too exciting. We see a little bit of the summoner spell action. We see a little bit of maybe some of the rune choices. Anything specific you want to really highlight here, Claire?
Not anything too specific, but actually, yeah, no, nothing. We see a little bit of an engage up here in that top river. And
Just a little bit of a fun jungle poke back and forth, and looks like Mobility Scooter and Hazim just want to hang out, maybe get a little bit of a cheeky thing going. I don't like this.
this might continue for the rest of the match.
You know what?
They just don't hit each other. They're just still in the top lane, and
Everybody's sitting here fighting over Bear, and everybody's just doing their thing. Bot lane, we're just having a dance off. I'd be okay with it. It's whatever.
they're having a good time, and that's what matters.
It looks like Zig's getting a little bit of poke damage here, and that's going to be all she wrote. But let's take a look at the teleport numbers here on both sides. Dorado Gaming with one single teleport coming in on the Zigs, compared to DZG rocking 2 in their side lanes. I definitely think when it comes down to macro, that is an undeniable advantage for the side of DZG, but the micro and laning phase definitely could be a little bit of a shakeup if they disrespect that Ignite Ghost here, Claire.
Yeah, 100%. I think that Scion, especially with that TP, I mean, if they are in the side lanes, they got to be matched by someone, and since that Tryndamere does not have that TP, it might be a little bit rough for them to get matched.
Absolutely. Well, Ziggs is just absolutely chunking DeBay down here in the bot lane, and I'm really interested to see how the side of Dorado really want to play this Alistair Ziggs combination, because I don't think I've ever seen it, Claire.
I definitely haven't either, maybe in like a solo queue game, but definitely not in like league play. But the Ziggs is doing a bunch of damage here.
And most of it's just auto attacks. I don't really think he's needed to throw too many bombs, and the lane state is actually going to be slightly shoving in Dorado's favor here, so maybe a few of them have hit minions, but they're going forward. Flash forward from Alistair here, now onto the Bay. He's forced to flash out as well. The Ignite ticking down, and DZG have to burn the Summoner, but it was a 1-for-1 flash. Nothing too crazy. I think they really wanted to catch DeBay off guard, but he reacted very quickly to that play.
Yeah, no, DeBay, you need to burn that flash, but definitely worth it. Getting to be able to live and not dying there is going to definitely be one of the better plays, but getting in this jungle invade.
When becomes Lightning did hit Sleeping Giant, he's forced to flash, but in the wrong direction. I don't think he had anywhere to go. There was a great move there from the side of Dorado to take advantage. Now, Ziggs going over the wall, did pick up the first blood. Core is going to be under attack now. He flashes under tower, and I think that will be all she wrote. But Dorado Gaming taking full advantage of the priority. Now they're looking at DeBay. They have 3 men behind the tower. They're going for the tower dive now. Damage coming out. It's going to be heavy on, and Goaty takes down DeBay as Dorado quickly strike twice in the bot lane, picking up 2 kills.
It's so well played there from Dorado Gaming, and knowing exactly where that jungler is, getting that invade off, and I think they also secured that blue buff, and if they didn't, they definitely secured it after that kill, so this Ziggs is just going to be such a menace. Not going to need to leave the lane for so long. And another...
Oh, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, the advantage was already gained there, as we're seeing a little bit of scrappiness in the mid lane. Don't think it's going to amount to much. But we already saw the gain there from DeBay having to force the recall and Ziggs getting so much CS. And then they just further expounded upon that. They took one, like DZG accidentally gave them an inch, or they kind of forced the inch for themselves from Dorado, but they ended up just getting a whole mile out of it. The kill in the bot lane, followed by, the kill in the jungle, followed by the kill in the bot lane. It was just very well executed.
Yeah, that Ziggs, we saw backing getting immediately off that first back in that lost chapter, but while this Tryndamere is just tanking down the Scion, not much looks to be happening in that top lane. Just a slow game so far. Not too much to take of note here.
Well, this might be a fight here as Hazim, nope, just going in for the poke. I thought maybe more would have followed out of that one. That one looked a little dangerous there, but I just didn't expect anything to boil out of that bot lane play. It looked suspect at first, and then next thing you know, it just snowballed into an absolute menace to society in the form of this Ziggs getting double buffs, a kill. Now Xin Zhao's going to be quite strong as well, but Hazim's setting up here. Goaty's in the top side of the map. I think we're going to see something as Mobility Scooter is very low.
Yeah, Mobility Scooter's just needing to sit right under that tower, so does not get picked out by that Jin Zhao. I'm not sure if Jin Zhao was seen in this jungle. Deciding to put down a ward, but we are getting in, looks like a tower dive in that top
Tower
lane.
dive up top. The recall was stopped here now. It's going to be Hazim taking up the tower. He's going to be channeling the knockup. Hazim flashes over. One more hit will not take him down. He also has access to the ultimate on the level up and a very well, easy executed tower dive from the side of Dorado Gaming. Nets them another kill, leading them to a 2K gold advantage at 5 minutes.
Dorado Gaming just opening the map so well here. As you can see, I think this Jarvan needing to play closer to that bot side because of this lane winning so heavily. And like, just look how much damage the side of Dorado Gaming is doing to this DZG bot lane. They just cannot do anything but sit under tower.
It's one or two more bouncing bombs will take DeBay out, as that Hex Flash into the DeBay was able to get them a lot of mileage, and now Mobster Penguin is going to be roaming down here as well. The Satchel Charge goes out to disengage Jay Core, but he goes forward, misses the knockup. Now the Cinder Stun comes through, Sleeping Giant knocked up under tower, but it's going to be Ziggs falling as Mobster Penguin does get that kill. DZG needed to find a way to answer back into this game to keep the game state a little bit more even, but now Hushimi's moving forward, looking to use Sluter here to get some sort of play going. Now it's going to be a flag and drag out. Hushimi's still looking. Sluter is in the bot lane, flashes forward, gets the toss in, and does connect, kills Sleeping Giant, and I don't think DZG can strike back. A 1-for-1 trade after everything considered in the bot lane, and it was a 3v4 ultimately, so well played from Dorado Gaming answering that kind of massacre in the bot lane.
Yeah, no, being able to bait 4 down to that bot lane and only losing, and and going 1-for-1 is huge. Just, I would say that's insanely well played from Dorado Gaming. And like looking at this top lane matchup, again, still not much happening. The Scion does seem to be having to sit under a tower a little bit more, or else they'll get poked, but it does seem to be pretty even CS-wise.
Well, another thing to take a look at, the CS in the top lane is kind of going about how I would expect at least. Tryndamere with an advantage. But, you know, looking at the resources that DZG pulled down to the bot lane and honestly didn't get a net positive out of it, the CS in the jungle has actually shifted pretty decently into Goaty's favor as well. So, all in all, we're now actually still looking at that 2K gold lead, but you would expect that play that DZG pulled off would have upset that gold lead a little bit, but still, cards came out in favor of Dorado, as now we're seeing a lot of jockeying for position around this Drake.
Yeah, this Alistar just playing super aggressive here.
Vision was denied. The Rakan was able to get out of that one. That one looked close. If it were to connect, Goaty was right there to answer.
Yeah, this Ziggs is just such a problem. Just has so much range that this Rakan Xayah bot lane just can't really answer much of it.
Well, we're seeing a lot of hanging out here down in the bot side jungle. Mobster Penguin is looking as well, has access to the stun, but nothing is going to come of that, as we are seeing the scrappiness in the top lane doing exactly what we'd expect. A lot of pings going out. I imagine we'll see a dragon fight here in the next 2 minutes for sure.
Yeah, that dragon, that first dragon especially, isn't the most necessary, but it's still super useful to have.
Well, I think we're just fighting around the bot side jungle buff here, as DZG want to be able to keep their own resources, and Dorado just hardcore pressuring them in their own home turf. Now we're seeing the posture here. Goaty goes over the wall onto Mobster Penguin, and does get some damage out. Mobster Penguin looking a little bit in trouble. Jay Core is now going to be the target as Sluter goes over the wall and takes him out. DeBay looking low, getting some damage off. One becomes lightning, does not connect, but Sleeping Giant does throw a Q over the wall, connects, gets the kill, but will ultimately fall for that one. It is a 2-for-1 right now in favor of Dorado, but DeBay and Mobster Penguin looking extremely low, and Sluter looking like he's on the hunt.
Yeah, no, needing to force out that bot lane. Just such an odd jungle fight in that red side jungle by that blue buff, but just push that bot side so far away that Ziggs getting even more farm, even more fed here. Potentially gonna get any plates. It doesn't look like it, but just gonna back, and they might have their item.
You want to talk about Ziggs being a menace right now. We're taking a look at this 3-0 Akali, and that's going to be absolutely terrifying, even for somebody as survivable as a Xayah. Mobster Penguin now needs to be considering what kind of defensive items to pick up, in my personal opinion. So it's definitely looking a little bit doom and gloom for DZG in the early game, as Mobility Scooter is just getting chunked. This might be the Tryndamere ultimate under tower. It's going to be the damage coming out. The ultimate was popped. One more auto attack will do it, and Mobility Scooter will not be able to get the rundown kill on this, as Hazim just makes it look easy.
Hazim just looks so comfortable in that Tryndamere, just piloting it so well, knowing the limits like precisely, knows all of the limits perfectly. And just look at that Ziggs Q doing like a third of that damage to that Rakan. Like, just such a menace.
Yeah, DeBay is not having a good time. Even the satchel charge is chunking him out pretty decently here. As we do see both jungles are on the bot side of the map, I would not be surprised if we get a little bit of a fight here. And DZG don't know. They have no control over that tri-bush right there, and I don't think they've had it for the last 3 minutes.
Just the vision on the side of DZG is not looking too good, but is needing to survive anywhere that they can. Looking at this bot side, it seems that we might have a Xin Zhao go in here, but...
Oh no, Monster Penguin's looking low. The ultimate comes in. That was a perfect hourglass here, and I don't think Sluter will be able to do anything more. Now the stun comes out. The ultimate from Syndra. Oh, it missed by an inch. And Monster Penguin was not able to get that one. Go to here looking, has access to the flag and drag, but I don't think any more of it's going to be coming out of that one. I'm sorry, not flag and drag. When becomes lightning. Apologies. As they do start up the Drake.
Yeah, it just seems like there's so much control. There seems to be a lot of roaming on the side of Dorado. This Ziggs being very comfortable to go back to the top lane, that mid lane, and taking over where that Akali left off. So just to make sure that they don't lose any plates or any of these early advantages. But we might see a dragon fight here. Well,
the charm goes in. Well, a Monster Penguin comes down to the bot lane as well. Goaty's going to be stunned up, and Goaty will fall. Sleeping Giant picking up that kill. Now Hushimi on the Alistar is going to be the next target here as DZG move forward. Damage coming up. They're getting a little separated with the Hex minefields there, but the ultimate from Alistar is popped. DZG set their sights on the Drake, but Sluter is now coming. DZG secure this one. Will there be any sort of cleanup actions as DZG have multiple members sitting at half health? Hushimi is looking at Monster Penguin, and Monster Penguin is a little bit in trouble. Carino moving forward, looking to toss some bombs, and I think we'll be able to get some out here. Now it's going to be 1, 2 bombs. Will we get more? No, it's going to be... Yes, I felt that Akali was going to pick that one up, but Monster Penguin will fall. 8 kills to 3. DZG get a Drake, but lose one member for their troubles.
I think that DZG played that insanely well. Having being able to find that Drake, having 4 people there, did not think they were going to lose that fight, but didn't quite get out there as that Syndra does eventually fall down to that Ziggs and that Akali duo, who are both probably the 2 strongest characters on the map at the moment. I mean, not to talk about this Tryndamere, who's just been in this top lane causing quite a problem for this Scion.
Well, we'll take a look at the damage profiles right now, and as DZG, what do you build to really, survive this? Like, Jarvan's going to have a really difficult time. Sion's going to be heavily prioritizing armor for the matchup up here versus the Tryndamere, and at a moment's notice, whenever he comes into a fight, he's going to get absolutely melted by Ziggs, by this Akali. So it's a lot of doom and gloom here because multiple members with multiple different damage profiles are getting a lot of gold here, and Mobility Scooter is not able to get any sort of love.
Yeah, just nothing being shown. That Xin Zhao has passed to the top lane, which has caused him even more of an issue, but this Jarvan being so focused on keeping that bot lane from not getting snowballed on super hard has just not been able to go help this Scion, which is just not what you want to see. It's a little bit unfortunate.
But... I mean, if this... Oh, man, DeBay is just getting absolutely rocked with this Ziggs damage, but if at any point Scion decides to take that recall, I think Hazim just gets this tower. Tower plates are about to fall in 15 seconds. It's going to be vulnerable. First tower gold going to Tryndamere's pocket is going to be very scary for DZG, as Carino is just starting to run DeBay down. If that bomb connects, it's going to be... like 50% of his remaining health, maybe even a bit more, is yes, that does hit. Landry's Torment's going to be getting him a lot of mileage. But also, it's going to be very hard to get onto this Ziggs. That's a stopwatch sitting in Carino's pocket as well.
Yeah, especially on that Ziggs. Having this large of a Ziggs here is just quite a problem. Looking like we're going to get this tower topside. Hazim does do so. Being able to pop that all, and...
He denied it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ion.
I think what happened there, it did happen off screen, but I think Tryndamere got a little cheeky, tried to get in front to deny the ultimate, and then his ultimate itself ran out. The damage was then finally able to come through. Maybe even the ultimate damage itself, netting the kill for Mobility Scooter. Now, unfortunately, Tryndamere did get the tower for the side of Dorado. First tower is going to set this gold lead now at 4K for the side of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, it does seem that the Hazim did use that flash and that ghost, so not gonna have any summoner spells for the up-and-coming fights in these next couple of minutes, but definitely the side of DZG could use that to to do some counterattacks, either onto that Tryndamere or just wanting to fight in team fights, knowing the fact that Tryndamere does not have a flash.
Well, we are seeing a lot of posturing right now around this mid lane. The stun does connect, but I don't think it's something that Mobster Penguin wants to take here. He already had one moment where just the ultimate coming out from Syndra just was barely not enough to take him down. The farming is roughly even, but that Akali is going to be a threat, especially with an Alistar hanging around there to provide a lot of CC. Now, DZG have 2 members up in the top side, might look to do something on Tryndamere. He does have access to the ultimate here, and I think if Mobility Scooter is able to bait it out long enough, flag and drag over the wall, the knockup's not going to hit, as Tryndamere was able to sidestep that one out just barely. Now he's going to be doing a lot of damage on the Sleeping Giant. He's popping the ultimate now. The CC needs to come out. The knockup is there. Subsequent knockup is there as well. They need to wait out this ultimate. He's going to be able to get out over the wall. No, the spin to win just barely missed. Sleeping Giant takes down Hazim as DZG strike in the top lane. Rift Herald not going to be available for them to take, as Goaty did pick that one up earlier. But now mid lane is under siege. The Satchel will blow it up. Rift Herald spawn in the mid lane. Maybe 2 towers fall, and DZG, yes, a kill in the top lane, but they're losing every structure.
Just like trying to decide like what objectives they need to go for or what people they need to go for is just such a problem, especially being far behind, as they are like 4K. Dorado is 4K gold ahead here at 16 minutes, which is quite the lead, I might add. And just DZG needing to find their way to crawl back in, and they thought it was with that topside push on that Tryndamere, but losing a tower in like a half is just not the consequences that they wanted off that.
Oh, it's massive. As we do finally get the second Drake of the game spawned onto the map, you have to think right now with the way the game is going that it's going to be up to Dorado Gaming to figure out how the tempo is going for that one. But you got to really feel bad for the side of DZG here, as we're going to see a little action in the top side of the map. Mobility Scooter does have access to the ultimate if he wants to try to get out. He's going to actually be relatively tanky now, but the Rage stacking up for Hazim, and Sleeping Giant's going to be up here on the top side of the map. Flag, drag, connect, and it's going to look like J-Core is running up here as well. Now Tryndamere needs to try to run out. It's going to be the ultimate coming in. He doesn't even get a chance to pop the ultimate that is on cooldown. Never mind, as he will fall for the 3rd time in a row, actually.
Yeah, just DZG finding a great way of shutting down this Tryndamere. Unfortunately, not going to be able to contest that Drake, so they do need to like pick whichever ones they want, which options that they want while that Drake is being contested. But especially with that mid turret, just so much value being found from Dorado while DZG is making these plays across the map.
J-Core pops the ultimate and is just getting straight denied, but Alistar finally gets knocked up. The stun going onto him as well, but Sluter and Goaty are looking in, and Debate is going to be under fire soon. Teleport being channeled, I don't think it'll be enough. When becomes Lightning connects, it's going to be multiple members of DZG falling, you have to think. Oh, no. Glover's duo did fall. Mobster Penguin was able to walk that one out just barely. Now the stun coming up, or the knockup coming out, and it will be Goaty falling in a return fashion, so DZG striking back, but ultimately it's a 2-for-1 loss, as DZG burned a lot of resources to get that.
Yeah, just really unfortunate that the DZG needs to burn this much, but it isn't over for them yet. They can definitely regroup and figure out how to win this game. In those ways is shutting down the Akali, especially. That 500 gold could go so far on so many of these players. I'm kind of surprised that she's the only one that does have a bounty on the side of Dorado. I would assume that the Ziggs, or, you know, maybe even... Actually, no, probably just the Ziggs could also have one, but does not quite. And looking at this map, we don't see any objectives up, so we might just see a lot of farming.
And one thing that we were talking about in the early game, too, is the bot lane priority on the vision control has either been not where it needs to be, or has just straight up been denied. We saw DZG having to shift their vision line into the bot lane jungle for denial of the invades there, which were really setting Sleeping Giant behind. Now, DZG has even lost that vision line, and that what I ultimately think contributed a lot to that last play. DZG's bot side of the jungle was completely dark. They thought they had to pick on Alistar. Whenever they went for it, Goaty and Sluter just said, okay, cool, we'll come up, and I don't think DZG even knew they were on the way.
Yeah, neither do I. Just this vision is just such an impactful thing, especially in like games of League like this, and just the fact that it's kind of such a gap. I mean, it does say that it is pretty even on the side of both of the supports with 34 each. The ADC difference is quite massive.
Well, we were talking about that MR difference here now, as it's going to be Hushimi and Carino versus Mobility Scooter. Mobility Scooter walking this one out. Maybe, no, definitely not going to have to pop the ultimate, as DZG, we're starting to rotate some people up there onto the top side of the map. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting look here for what really happens next. I did want to talk about earlier how I don't feel like DZG really lost too much whenever they were prioritizing the gold and the picks over the dragon. I think gold really is what they need in their pocket right now, especially to get this Scion into a beefy frontline to really enable the damage dealers to have a bit of free reign. But the big threat now, I think, is going to be that damage over the top still, with the Akali being able to just shred members. And it's been that way for a while, as DeBay's in a really tough spot now, has to pop both the flash and the ultimate to get out. A quick stun coming out there onto Hazim, but Hazim got exactly what he wanted, you have to think.
Yeah, just seeing this fight take place into this jungle over this Baron, I will have to assume this Baron going to be such a large objective that both teams are going to want super duper badly. The side of Dorado could just get this Baron and potentially end the game with those super minions, but if that does happen, DZG will definitely be in such a world of hurt. But getting this Baron could give them so much gold back into this game.
Absolutely. Well, the Baron has been started it up. DZG have no vision in the pit right now. They have a lot of tools to be able to get in there and check and hopefully get out to safety. But let's take a look. We won't even get time. That's a 4-man knockup coming out from Hushimi. Now it's going to be damage coming out. DeBay just got annihilated by Carino and Sluter. Now J Core is looking a little bit of trouble, as it's going to be Mobility Scooter versus the world here, tanking up 4 members of the side of Dorado. Now Hazim in the back line will take down J Core. Now it's going to be Mobility Scooter falling next. It's going to be 4 members, just kidding, 5 members of Dorado alive, just compared to the 3 of DZG. Now the follow-up damage is coming in as Sluter is looking to get on top of Mobster Penguin. Ignite goes out. He is knocked up, but he does get the kill. Sleeping Giant's going to be next on the chopping block as the damage will connect. It's going to be Ace for the side of Dorado Gaming. A clean one at that, as they just get every member of DZG.
Dorado looking so clean in these fights, just having so much control over the map, and like it just seems that the side of DZG needs to react to these plays, and they can't really make any plays that they want, which is not what you want to see. But like they just seem to get split, and Dorado finding those split members and being able to chunk one of them down one at a time was just so clean.
Well, we are now hitting that 22-minute mark. Baron looks like it's going to be an inevitability here in the next, 4 or 5 minutes, with another Drake spawning onto the map as well. 1-to-1 Drakes. DZG is looking down the barrel of a 6k gold deficit here. They have 1 tower compared to 4, and it's just not looking favorable for them at this time. Granted, objective bounties are a thing, but Claire, walk me through, what does DZG need to do next to get back into this game? As we might have a dragon fight, but I doubt it.
Well, I was about to say, try and get these dragons, get these objectives, especially those turrets that have a lot more gold with them, and hopefully try to get some gold before they go into a next fight.
We got a fight coming on now, as Mobster Penguin's going to be tagged. Just know that Wind Becomes Lightning barely did miss, as DZG, I think, are going to be able to walk this one out. DeBay needs to run for the hills, as Azim is looking, has access to try to tower dive, but I don't advise it, as that one was close to being very doom and gloom for DZG.
Yeah, no, DZG just getting, just not getting the response that they want from Dorado Gaming, just being contested at every single point on this map.
Oh, Hushimi to the back line with the 2-man knockup, damage going out into DeBay. He's about to get absolutely shredded, pops the ultimate, but it's only going to buy him a couple seconds. Sleeping Giant is now going to be inside of the pit with Hazim, and it did not go in favor of Jarvan. Hazim says, welcome to the Thunderdome, bitch. It's your time to die. As now it's going to be DZG with 2 members dead. Baron is going to be Dorado Gaming's next focus.
Getting this Baron is going to be so massive, potentially game ending. Getting that XP and that Baron buff is going to be super duper impactful. I'm not entirely sure it's going to be contested. They might just have to go for it because they know that their game might be over if they don't. They don't have a flash, though. Or a
There
flat
is
or
a
a
defensive
fight.
line set up here by Sluter and Hushimi. I don't think there's any way DZG can test this. Now, we are looking at almost a 10k gold deficit here for DZG as Sluter's looking forward, maybe to look at tag and grab mobility scooter. Knockup's going to be coming out from Hushimi. I have to think Sluter has damage. I don't know if he's able to just straight up murder a Scion, but the damage going through, and Scion I don't think has any MR really, but he pops the ultimate to get out, and that's another tool that DZG do not have in their pockets. Those bounties are looking absolutely juicy on Dorado, but I don't know if DZG is going to be able to cash them in.
I just don't know if they can deal enough damage. Just the way that Dorado's playing this, they just aren't letting anyone. They aren't leaving anyone behind. So like whether they haven't lost a fight yet. Their only kills or deaths that have been from just getting picked off in that laning phase, especially that Tryndamere who got ganked a couple of times. So we haven't seen them lose a team fight, so we don't entirely know how DZG is going to need to win one of these.
I want to take a look at something scary right here on the map, as there are 4 needlessly large rods in the inventories of Dorado Gaming. That is about to be 2 Abaddon's Death Caps coming in, or Rabadon's Death Caps, sorry, coming in for the side of Dorado Gaming. That damage profile is just about to go boom, as Dodie walks into a little bit of a trap there, but I don't know if the damage follow is going to be enough. We have Ziggs Bomb going over to the top. The damage is going to come in from Carino, but nothing's going to really happen, as that is going to be Hazim hard shoving these Baron empowered minions in the top lane. Everything's gonna fizzle out, but DZG just can't even walk into their own jungle safely.
Yeah, this is just so disheartening on the side of DZG. I mean, I've been in the situation of not being able to walk into my own jungle, and it is frustrating. You don't have any vision, or the only vision you can really get is with those blue wards, but it is just looking super duper rough. Not being able to farm too well, and the only farm you can get is based off those low minions that finally make it to your base.
Assuming the tower doesn't get them first.
Yeah, it is just like, what can DZG do or hope to get back into this game? I'm not too sure. They really need a Hail Mary play here.
And well, Karina looked for a satchel charge there in the mid lane to take down that tower, but I think the health bar was just a little out. Maybe he was anticipating one more minion attack to bring it down. They do finally pick up that mid lane tower. They are inside of DZG's base, and I wanted to talk about it, and I don't know if I'll get the chance because I imagine a fight's going to break out very shortly. But I feel really bad for DZG. You talked about it being disheartening. It's definitely demoralizing when you're sitting here trying to drive the ship, and every time you turn around, there's a new hole that you're trying to plug. And I felt like that's just been the story of this entire game. They patch one hole and go, yay, we did it, and then turn around and there's 6 more. So it's definitely a sinking ship as bot lane inhibitor falls. Now Sion's looking to go forward. Sluter's going to be the target. They will be able to charm him out of the cloud, but he goes in. He absolutely annihilates Mobster. You have to imagine that the rest of DZG is quick to fall here soon, and it's going to be a Kali with a double kill. Now damage is coming out. Sluter will finally fall for the first time in this game. Debate picking that one up. Now it's going to be Ziggs coming on quick double kill, picking up Zaya, picking up Jarvan. Mobility Scooter is next from the chopping block as Azim goes forward. Still has access to the ultimate if he needs it. One more attack will do it. That's going to be the ace. You have to think that's going to be the game now, as Hazim is just kind of trolling around here using the Undying Rage and just soaking up Mobility Scooter's hits. And one tower falls, second Nexus tower falls, and Nexus soon to follow right after, and Dorado Gaming pick up game 1.
It's an absolute stomp coming out of Dorado Gaming. Quite the masterclass, I might add, with this unusual composition of characters. It just looked like comfort picks all across the board. All of the champs looked so well played, and like, look at those 16 assists on the side of that Alistar. Just a very, very impressive game. And look at those damage statistics. That Ziggs just poking everyone on the map. Every time someone was on their screen, just poked immediately. That's exactly what you want to see. If you are
exactly what we expected to see. You look at the game state, you look how that game go, and you say, hey, the biggest problem that we have right now in this game is going to be Carino on the Ziggs, and we saw it all game long. The damage charts just go to bolster that opinion. But now knowing what some of the weaknesses are that we saw and strengths of Dorado and DZG respectively, and swap those two, what do you really think DZG need to prioritize in the second game draft, or just second game as a whole, to really strike back and make this a 3-game series?
Well, I mean, just trying to figure out what our weak points there were, and especially that bot lane that immediately got collapsed on the side of DZG. Definitely going to need somehow to fix that. Whether that is banning that Ziggs, who is a massive problem, or picking a different composition, or playing it a little bit differently, I'm not too sure what they want to decide. But that bot lane definitely was a massive problem, especially since they had to have that Jarvan focus that bot lane so heavily, and they couldn't really allow them to roam to any of the other lanes.
Absolutely. It was the pressure point that really kind of made the entire game unfold, like you said. Not only did Jarvan have to spend most of his time in the bot lane to try to plug that sinking ship, so to speak, or hole in the sinking ship, but also you had to bring Mobster Penguin down there to help as well. Mobility Scooter was left alone on the island, and it didn't go in his favor after getting counterpicked, so definitely a pain point for DZG to really shore up. But other than that, I think we're about to head into a quick delay here. Claire, any final comments before we get all prepped up for Game 2 draft?
No, I'm just excited to see if DZG can bring this one back. I mean, it wasn't their greatest first performance, but they can really only go up from here. So, I mean, it was a pretty quick game. They probably knew that it was not going to go their way pretty early into that game. So, hopefully, their mental is good, and hopefully, they can just bounce back straight into this second game. And let's hope for the best.
Sounds great. This is exactly what I want to see. Adaptation, adaptation, adaptation. Ladies and gentlemen, hang tight. We'll see what Coach Gopamine wants to do for the second game and just a quick break. And we are back bringing you game two draft. After a little bit of technical difficulties, draft low decided to not work. We popped around, tried different ones, and then it came back up. So here we are. Caitlin taken off the board from the side of Dorado Gaming. DZG opting to stay on the red side and banning Rumble. Claire, what do you think?
What I'm noticing right now is that the Ziggs has not been banned on the side of DZG yet. Will that be the second ban? It might just be.
Well,
Um,
Dorado said they don't want to deal with the Zaya. They want more ways to try to kill DeBay here and deny him some defensive tools. And DeBay was clearly the focus of their last game. I think come in ultimately at 5 deaths as things look pretty much the same except for Graves taken away instead of. I'm sorry, Zaya taken away instead of Graves. And DZG say, Akali, no thank you.
Completely understandable. The Akali last game was super powerful in that mid lane. Such an oppressive character, especially later into those team fights. She could just get around, hide, and do a bunch of damage.
Do a bunch of damage she did, but the pressure point that we really felt was going to be that Ziggs, another control mage taken away from DZG. The Cassiopeia does enter the same ban as last time. DZG, now they want to adapt here. What they got, they have the Rel, they have the Maokai, they have the Ziggs, all viable options for bans. And I'm really curious to see what CJ wants to take away.
DCG really waiting till this last second to get this ban in, making us wait. And
Well,
it's
they
gonna
do.
be that Rel.
So we saw last game that Alistair pretty much played like Rel would have anyway. So I imagine we might see that Alistair come back in for Dorado Gaming. It seems to really be their supports play style heavily. So we're actually going to see the Jarvan taken away from the side of DZG as well. Now DZG need to figure out what kind of comfort picks they want to answer with here.
Not too sure which one DCG is gonna go into first. It could be matching that jungle, getting that immediate counter pick. But we are waiting to see. Again, DZG really does like to wait till this last possible moment, keeping us suspense, or they're just talking about all their possibilities of what they want to do.
Well, we do know that two members of DZG can play the Ziggs. That is a Lilia picked in there. I need to check chat to make sure that that was not a mistake because it was last second. I'm not seeing anything to counter that. That might still just be solidly a Lilia here.
Having this Lily in this jungle is a completely different play style from that last game, which Sleeping Giant was on that Jarvan, which is now on to Go Deep. But it could just be what they needed to get back into this game.
Yeah, it definitely completely changes the landscape, as that's exactly what I was expecting when I didn't see the bans and I didn't see it first picked from the side of Dorado. It's going to be DZG grabbing that Ziggs, and we 100% know that that can be a flex pick.
Yeah, 100% could either go towards that mid or towards that ADC position. This could throw Dorado Gaming off a little bit in choosing what they want to pick in their draft. They choose to hover this Nocturne,
Oh,
which would be a bit odd. It could be played top lane or Jarvan, and it's officially
that could go
interesting.
mid lane. That could go top lane. Jarvan could go into a lane. Not likely. We're probably going to see him in the jungle. But that does open us up for a lot of speculation here. Now, another thing to talk about from the side of DZG, we have a Lilia locked in. We have a Ziggs locked in. I'm going to guess that it's going to go into the mid lane. And the reason is because I don't typically see Mobster Penguin playing too many things outside of control mages, but it's always a possibility. We'll see how that boils out as a Syra of all things coming in from Dorado Gaming here, Claire.
This Zyra again, not again, but let's saying this Zyra is a super powerful support right now, has a lot of lane priority, can put all those plants down everywhere, and gets a lot of vision and control across the map.
Well,
So
DZG need a really creative answer here to deal with the complete chaos of once again Dorado Gaming. They're opting once again for this crazy kind of desync strategy of two dive tools with a Zyra control support. So it's interesting to see, but they picked the Maokai up for themselves. That can either go support or jungle as well. We're probably going to see that down in support, and DZG taking away another powerful pick into their own pockets here, and the bans are now back on the table.
yeah, just looking at these bans here, we're gonna get a Yone, which does make sense, and immediately responded with that Taric. So that is an odd ban, I would think, because I mean Tarek is a jungler support, so and they already probably have both of those covered on the side of DCG.
Yeah, that is unless you wanna go with a top lane Lilia, and that's something that they think DZG wants to do here, I imagine that we're gonna see the Tryndamere banned here away. Yes, it can be dealt with, but it is extremely annoying, and even when you walk a top or a tank pick, it's gonna be really annoying, but they opt to take away Jax, they opt to take away Jace, and really forcing, I feel like, the mid lane Ziggs pick here is kinda what they're opting into. So they might be wanting to put, Debate on a traditional AD carry and then focus the ever loving hell out of him.
Yeah, just not seeing any AD carry quite yet picked for either side, so it's gonna be a bit interesting to see if DCG wants to blind pick. Um, it's this draft is just messing with my head so much. I'm not entirely sure what else, and they're drafting a Poppy, which could go the top lane, is what I would assume is where that Poppy would go.
I think right now what we're seeing is DZG holding off for the last possible second to figure out how they want to flex this Ziggs around. I still feel like it's going into the mid lane, but I could be wrong, and I feel like that's probably the optimal answer, unless Mobster Penguin has some sort of crazy uh like AD pick that he wants to pull out for this game, but Jace being taken away kind of mitigates some of that strategy there as we see an Olaf locked in. I think that might ultimately be a mid lane nocturne, as I kind of hinted at earlier.
Yeah, this Olaf in that top lane, that Jarvan into that jungle, and that Nocturne into mid. You never really see that Nocturne mid. Not saying that it can't be played, but if it is being played into that Ziggs, that could be really unfortunate. And it
Uh,
doesn't
um, don't hurt
um
my brain, please.
I'm sure is
Okay,
it a
I
Nocturne ADC?
I
It
okay.
I'm so confused. Looking at this draft, this is so wild. And this what will DCG respond? Because looking at this, and I have no idea what's really happening. I'm curious what DZG is thinking.
And I just double checked chat. There have been no mentions of any sort of oopsie, we picked the wrong thing here. So this looks like the final DOGG roster, as it's going to be a traditional 80 carry coming out from Debay here, picking up the Sivir. The spell shield is going to be absolutely crucial to handle a lot of these shenanigans for sure. But lots of shenanigans they are. I feel like Ezreal might have been a little bit safer of a pick from the side of DZG, but the utility coming out from Sivir is going to be absolutely massive if utilized correctly, especially when synergized with a Lilia. So here is what I'm thinking for DZG side, since I feel it's fairly obvious. We have Poppy in the top lane, Lilia coming in the jungle, Ziggs mid with a Maokai Sivir bot lane. For the side of Dorado, there's a lot of question marks, but I feel ultimately what we're looking at is top lane Olaf with a Jarvan in the jungle, Silas in the mid lane with a Nocturne Zyra bot lane combination. We did see the Olaf locked in on the actual pick ban, but they could always trade. Claire, how does that resonate with you?
I think that what you're saying against like with these team compositions is entirely correct. It could be, but this Nocturne was locked into the jungle slot on the client here, so maybe it is an Olaf ADC. I mean, not an Olaf ADC. My apologies, but a Jarvan ADC. Jarvans, they can
I,
still swap.
Yeah, definitely could swap. I've seen plenty of shenanigans in my day. I've run plenty of shenanigans in my day, but I don't think I've ever seen this sort of combination in definitely this elo either, because we are playing in that Emerald Diamond elo as well. So, um question marks, and and I think we're going to have to wait till the last possible second to be able to get that hopefully happy answer for us here.
Yeah, needing really to wait till that final second. But I'm excited to see what's happening here. This is very unorthodox, I would say, but judging from that last game, I think Dorado is very comfortable with that. Very comfortable playing, off the meta or like not really balanced compositions because they just make it work.
Dorado Gaming is essentially the embodiment of the first Jurassic Park movie. They love chaos theory. Every single play, incorporating their draft, really just persisted around chaos. let's three-man fight the blue buff at like level 6 after a tower dive to set up another tower dive setup. And it's just all over the place, right? And that seemed to be their state of the game, and they did very well with it. So uh that also might be a Zyra 80 carry and Jarvan support. That actually seems relatively likely. Put somebody in a Cataclysm, drop the Wild Growth on top, or not Wild Growth. It's something else. Um, and it just completely locks somebody in a doom of hell. that's that's a nasty combination.
Just baiting that Jarvan in, getting some damage in, and trying to sustain and kite for the rest of the team could be a very real possibility. Like,
Yeah,
just I'm excited to see what's happening here.
as am I. Let's go ahead and wait for the prepare your loadout here to find out if there's going to be any trades. But this is a very unorthodox situation here in the bot lane, and Debay and uh, he's really going to have to figure out he wants to deal with this one. I mean, Maokai definitely going to have to put in a lot of work there to help the lane out and figure the lane out as well. But man, this is a fun one as no trades have come through. It's going to be the Zyra Jarvan bot lane. We're heading into spectator delay right now. Claire, final thoughts.
My final thoughts are just I don't really know what to expect, you know? I mean, judging from that first game, I expect Dorado to, figure out how to play this composition, and maybe they have played this composition in the past in like a scrim or something, but I'm just curious of how they make this work.
Well, we will find out in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, hang tight as we will be bringing you game 2 of Dorado Gaming versus Dread Zone Gaming. Hang tight. Hey everybody, we are back bringing you game 2. We have the final roster looking like we should know where everybody's going now. Olaf, Nocturne, Silas, Zyra, Jarvan finally picked in. We do see some summoner spell shenanigans with the Jarvan Ignite and Zyra Teleport. Nothing coming in for the top lane or the mid lane for the terms of teleport, but whew. I reached out to DZG's coach and I said, "Are you as confused as we are?" And he said, "Very." So it looks like we weren't the only ones taken off guard here, but I'm interested to see how this is going to pan out as we do have the 5-man fan out. Claire, thoughts? What you got?
My thoughts are very, very confused is what my thoughts consist of, especially this Jarvan looking at this runes and that support item is not what I would have expected to see, but it's definitely unique and super interesting, so I'm all for it, actually.
Well, Sivir might have a very bad day as already it is heavily prioritized here for the side of Dorado to go in for that vision, and they are just actually fully indexing into a top lane invade here to look at snagging this buff away. Sleeping Giants trying to get started here with the first pack, but now Hazim's walking down. They're going to smite that one away. Sleeping Giant trying to get all the gold that they can back. Now Mobster Penguin's in a little bit of a rock and a hard place here. This is going to be a full-on fight. Jake Core moving up. Hazim running out. He's popped the ghost. He's going to hit the blast cone soon, but he's stunned. Tackled into the wall. Now has to go out. It's going to be Maokai picking up the first blood as Jake Core did run down. Not who you wanted to see the gold to, but it's a very unique start for this game.
Yeah, just so much chaos happening, especially in those first 2 minutes, which is not something you really ever see. So, I mean, DZG going up, having that kill is going to be a massive advantage. It going onto that Maokai is probably a little bit unfortunate. Probably would have wanted it to go to like that, really anyone else but the Maokai, but, you know, they got to play with what they got.
Well, the poke already coming in, Debate taking a lot of damage, did actually have to really respect the flag and drag there at level 2. Mobility Scooter getting a good bit of damage out onto Hazim as well, and DZG. It looks like a little bit of a repeat of last game in the bot lane situation. J Core's really, Rome really kind of setting them behind in terms of health. But the CS is sitting about dead even, so glad to see it from DeBay. As Sluter's going forward, getting a lot of damage out here. The Hex charge is going to come forward, and it looks like Sluter wanted to follow it up a little bit more damage, and Mobster Penguin does not have the numbers and the ability power section to really get that one in. But, man, this game is already looking insane. I think another Abductive Scon just misses. The Ignite's going to be ticking, and it's going to be Mobster Penguin there getting the kill, but Sluter was able to trade it back with the Ignite, and he accepted his fate. He knew what happened. And Mobster Penguin's probably going to be teleporting back into that lane to pick up the CS, and I think ultimately that comes up as a little bit of a DZG win there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Looking at this top lane, especially this Poppy getting a lot of priority, getting that lane pushed in, maybe being able to roam a little bit, getting some deep ward potentially, as we do see this jungle fight over this blue buff and this top red side, but...
Well, Jake Core's going forward, has the Ignite. DeBay's sitting very low, trying to get in there to pop some damage. Jarvan did take a step up the river, so not going to be able to assist this one out, but that was a couple of summoners used there from the side of DZG, but they were not able to get the kill, and Jarvan is now back in the bot lane with full health bar. Going to be seeing a little bit more fighting there in the bot side as DeBay starts to channel the recall.
Yeah, especially having this Jarvan who is just so strong right now, being able to play in this bot side is just going to be super confusing for DZG. I don't think they know exactly how they want to play off of it. And I'm not sure this Jarvan even knows what they want to do.
Well, once again, it looked like they were setting up that potential invade, and DZG capitalized on it wonderfully. Unfortunately, not being able to secure the kill there, that would have been really big in shifting the landscape, and the trading patterns are starting to go back into Hazim's favor. Low health Olaf is always very scary, and Mobility Scooter is out of Corrupting Potion stacks, so you have to think that there's going to be a teleport to lane here shortly as Goaty is setting up here in the top lane for a dive. They should be able to pull this one off relatively easy. Now, it's going to be the Nocturne throwing the Q through the wall, and now looking here on the top side of the map, and Sleeping Giants trying to get up here as fast as possible. Does get the slow, does get some of the damage out, will be enough. Mobility Scooter will fall. Now Goaty's going to be next on the chopping block here, but it's going to be a little bit of a, yes, not even that close, just kidding. Double kill going into Sleeping Giants' pocket there as DZG answered the setup very well.
Sleeping Giant coming back up to that top lane, getting that quick 2 kills off that cleanup is going to be super massive for them. They are worth an 150 gold bounty, which will definitely be on the lookout for Dorado wanting to pick that one up. But looking at the rest of these lanes here, it does look like we do have a slight advantage for Dorado here in this bot lane, as they do have a 9 CS lead over the enemy's mid lane, ADC. But it's definitely super close still.
Well, one interesting thing is how Ziggs is playing the mid lane for the Sylas. Sylas looks to set up, Ziggs just throws the Salto charge out and says, no thanks, bro. Now, the Flag and Drag can be very scary, but Debay has access to the Spell Shield, has already used it a few times to get a little bit of mana back, and it's going to be really interesting how they want to set and kind of still prioritize this lane situation and play defensively around that flag, as that minion wave is shoving very hard into Dorado. Debay is trying to clean this one up, and it looks like nothing really too crazy will happen down here.
Yeah, looking at this dragon now, it did come up like about a minute ago, but we do see that first move towards it by DZG. It does look like they're going to pick it up. They might not get contested. It does look like they might get pinched on by this Nocturne in this bot lane.
Well, Jarvan's moving forward. Flag and Drag goes out. He's trying to get on top of somebody, and he's on top of Jay Korkor, who is going to be ticked low. DZG do secure the smite. Now it's going to be Sluter going in. He does get the Skond of Duck spell shielded, but DZG lose members left and right. 3 quickly fall, and might be a 4th here as Debay is forced to flash out. He's slowed. He's going to try to get out of this. You have to imagine Flag and Drag is coming up shortly. Just kidding. The Hoshimi was not really in a great spot there, but they do end up getting it either way, and DZG, they lose firm members for the Dragon, and you have to think that ain't worth.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. That is not worth. They were up a little bit of a gold lead there, and they just threw it right away in that Dragon fight. Definitely not what you want to see if you are the side of DZG.
That was a quick 2k gold swing at 7 minutes of the game, and that can be absolutely devastating. As DZG, I thought they had the numbers advantage. I thought they had the pressure and everything was going to be fine for them. But very quickly, the amount of CC coming out and the amount of AoE damage coming out from Dorado Gaming very quickly spun that one on its head. And Hoshimi's all the way up here in the top lane. That is, that is a very roamy Jarvan, as now Sleeping Giant's going to be fighting a support. Does get the smite here. Sluter is now here to fight as well. Scott of Duck will miss. Sleeping Giant running this one out a little bit, as Jay Korkor is up here as well. Godi is now looking to get on top of Sleeping Giant and will run through the entire minefield, but now it's going to be Hoshimi going forward. Sleeping Giant will still be running this one out. It's going to be a shutdown going on to the Nocturne. Hoshimi's next one to fall, as that's a lot of damage coming out from Mobster Penguin. Now Sleeping Giant still running this one out. Azim is looking, and I think we'll ultimately one away from getting the kill, should be able to pick this one up. You have to think, yes, it will be Sleeping Giant fall. DZG played that one decently enough, but not well enough, as Debay is going to be taking a lot of damage here, and the bot lane might ultimately fall, but will think survive just a little bit more. Hazim's going to be the next target here, and will fall as Mobster Penguin's in the top lane. We are having action all over the map, Claire, and I almost can't keep up.
Yeah, action everywhere across the map. I'm not sure you saw, but that Jarvan did eventually get out and escape from that Maokai, just barely though. But seeing this Jarvan roam across the map and cause a lot of problems is pretty interesting, as this Jarvan just has such high base stats that he can like engage against this Lilia and this Poppy with not too much worry.
Well, we're right back at it. Nocturne ultimate going out. Now a Sleeping Giant looks like he's going to be the target, and yes, it will be. The ultimate coming out from the Maokai. It's going to be low health bars. Jarvan will fall. Jay Korkor's health bar is looking real low as Godi takes him down. Ooh, a beautiful Q into the darkness of the brush. Will get the double kill into Godi's pocket here. Mobility Scooter next on the chopping block. Scooter looking to get the damage out, and DZG are trying to keep him alive, and ultimately will do so. The gold bleed, once again, was even swung back into the pockets of Dorado Gaming.
Dorado Gaming finding everywhere to get back into this game. They were down quite earlier, but they are now. And to let you know that, especially with this composition of characters, they can make anything happen. Look at this mid push here from this Tryndamere. They does look like that top lane is super empty, as no one is up there right now, but it does look like Poppy is going to be going back up there. That Tryndamere likely to follow.
Yep, Olaf moving into the top lane now to maybe posture around this Rift Herald yet again. And the gold graph, you have to think, is just nutty in this game for the first couple, 10 minutes. It's red, blue, blue, red, blue. It's like Halo all over again for anybody that remembers that good old red versus blue, which I think was actually discontinued recently.
That is tragic. You really do hate to see that the red versus blue is
Oh, well.
discontinued. I mean, it
Well,
happens.
we'll always have some red versus blue and some League of Legends, as Mobility Scooter is going to be able to farm, hopefully, this one up under tower relatively well. And Hazim's looking fairly confident for being 1-3. Mobility Scooter trying to run this one down, knows that he has Mobster Penguin up in the top. But it's going to be really hard to lock down an Olaf with Ragnarok.
Yeah, this Olaf just doing a lot of damage, especially with those axe throws. Just throwing them in, grabbing that axe.
Oh,
Look at the Ziggs being jumped on right here.
I don't even know how they had the vision on him. It must have been a vision plant that was hit because he was standing on top of a control ward. And Goaty just quickly goes in, finds Mobster Penguin, takes him down, and it is looking really rough for DZG here. Goaty's looking strong, Silas is looking strong, Zyra's looking strong, and all DZG really have is Mobster Penguin, who just got deleted off the Rift. Now Rift Herald is the next target for the side of Dorado Gaming.
Yeah, no, Dorado Gaming just finding these openings everywhere. They see an opening and they immediately pounce on it. They don't want to waste any time here. They're constantly moving across the map and constantly looking for any value they can get. Especially with that Ziggs just went up just a tad too much. I can't imagine that Ziggs was thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna die here in my jungle, but you know, there it was.
Standing on top of a control ward of all things as well. That was really rough to see. The second Drake is back up, and, you know, I was about to say it, but now we have J-Core throwing the ult down in the bot lane. You have to think it's going to hit somebody. It does. It hits both members. Drowsy's going out. Both members of the Dorado Gaming bot lane are asleep. Debay picks up one kill. Second kill coming through, and Debay gets that one as well. Double kill going into Siver's pocket. Feels damn good if you're a DZG fan.
DZG just hopping right back into this game, and you were mentioning that gold graph earlier. They didn't quite take the lead on the gold, but they're making it darn close, and they're going to be able to get this Drake now, which is, they're going to have a 2 Drake lead, which is pretty strong.
Pretty strong. Hopefully we do not get trolled here with a Cloud Soul, as, yeah, going back to the previous point is I don't think we're going to see a fight over this one. DZG picked that one up pretty cleanly. It's going to be the Hex Tech Drake coming in for the map. Access to those little Hex gates coming on now. But cycling back to Mobster Penguin and how bad that must have felt. You're sitting on top of a control ward in your own jungle. Next thing you know, you're tagged with a vision plant, and Nocturne's on top of you. You really can't outplay that one.
Yeah, I mean, Nocturne was right there, and I think that was that Sluter on that Silas that it was also there just to jump right on that Ziggs. So, I mean, you can never be too careful when that Nocturne has aura.
Well, it's going to be kind of back to the pattern as we looking at just a 1.5k gold lead for the side of Dorado. Things looking a little balanced, but no, once again, Mobster Penguin's going to be the target. The ultimate coming in over the top. That was a lot of damage coming out. Goaty on a killing spree as once again, Mobster Penguin. Darkness is not his friend. Get that man a nightlight because he is not going to be sleeping well today.
Yeah, no, this Nocturne just such a problem for that Ziggs, who's such a squishy target. And that Nocturne just jumps right on top of you, does like half your HP, and like, look at this Olaf here, just doing so much.
The damage came through, and it's going to be a quick 2 kills. The Olaf playing this very well. CC immune for the entire duration of that Ragnarok. Poppy tried with a hammer, but Hazim with a 2-versus-1 outplay, just shredding through the top jungle combination of DZG.
I mean, sometimes when I'm watching this Dorado team, it just looks like they can do no wrong. Like, they're just walking around the map, and all of them just look like juggernauts, or look like the best players they can be, which is incredibly impressive.
I wouldn't say do no wrong, but definitely coming in and just capitalizing on the very minor mistakes that DZG make. Now it's, once again, we keep talking about this gold graph, and it is once again firmly in the hands of Dorado Gaming. Mobility Scooter forced to pop the teleport here, which is fine. Drake's not going to be available for another 3 minutes, and we get in the dance-off yet again in the top lane, continuing on from game 1.
I mean, Hazim loves to show those dance moves. Like, in any chance that they can get, they will be dancing. Any downtime, which you don't see too much with the side of Dorado Gaming, but they are constantly looking at this gank on the bot
Sleeping
side.
Giant flashes forward, trying to get a lot of damage out onto Carino here. Now the ultimate from Maokai coming in, but it is a quick answer from Goaty. Goaty is so strong. He is shredding two members of DZG at the same time. Debay is in a lot of trouble here. Goaty on a rampage. Goaty picking up, I think, 2 of those kills. The other one going into Cyrus' pockets. As now Mobster Penguin is hanging down here on the bot side. Has to flash over that wall. Now it's going to be a fight once again on the top side here as Hazim is on a killing spree. Everybody on DZG, sans Mobster Penguin, is dead all across the map. Blood is flying in favor of Dorado Gaming.
All these kills coming out with no objectives on the map, so it's just that Dorado is just like wants to fight. They just want to make things happen, and we will see those bounties coming up on the side of DZG. So hopefully they can make something happen with those. Get some turrets, hopefully, some kills. I mean,
well, last game we were really taking a look at the AD carry from the side of Dorado Gaming, and also Sluter on the Akali. Now Mobster Penguin trying to fight this one off a little bit, and does end up getting his ultimate stolen. But last time it was the mid, last time it was the AD carry of Dorado Gaming being huge, like, boons for their team. Now this time it's Hazim and Goaty just doing a lot of work.
yeah, you see that Silas using that Zigzag just to do a little bit of poke damage, not too much, but making something happen with that. As you can see, this side of DZG is wanting to rotate towards that mid lane as they don't want to sit in the bot lane. Maybe that they think they're going to get jumped on, but just a lot of CS going down there, just going to nothing.
Well, DZG now need to find a way back into the game. The Drake coming up in a minute will be so point, but you have to imagine that they do not have the resources to really be able to contest this one in solid fashion. Sleeping Giant might even be in a little bit of trouble, just standing there casually in his own jungle. But DZG sending members to the bot side of the map. It looks like they want to contest. They know Olaf does not have the teleport, so it would be a 5v4 here. But if they leave that alone for too long, Olaf is going to break into their own damn base here. As I think Dorado know this, and they're okay just chilling. It's going to be the flag drag over the wall, Cataclysm, and Mobster Penguin is chilling, but not anymore as Goaty goes over the top, gets some of the damage out nearsighted and near death as Goaty gets that one, and for style points, pops a spell shield to absorb the ultimate. DZG are now not in a good spot as all. Carino goes to sleep. Carino's going to be dunked on as it will be Sleeping Giant getting the kill there. But Olaf is breaking into DZG's base. Yes, Hushimi falls. Debay picking up that kill. Goaty now is going to be sitting here with, Sluter chilling. And DZG maybe look to start up this Drake, but Sluter having access to the Maokai ultimate. Goaty being 9-2, it's going to be a really rough one for DZG to comfortably do as they are losing their base tower. You have to imagine the inhibitor falls as well. Maokai ultimate coming over the top. Sleeping Giant's very low health bar. Goaty looking to go in, getting some damage out, and Sleeping Giant is super low. The dragon will fall. Objective bounty comes in, but it will be Sleeping Giant that falls. Now, Sluter is still here with Carino now. Managed to get back. It's going to be Debay falling. It is going to be J-Core falling. Mobility Scooter is next on the chopping block and will be falling as well. It was perfect macro from the side of Dorado. They got everything the Drake as DZG's base is broken into at 18 minutes. Gold lead is now at 8k for Dorado and DZG. This is looking bad.
It is not looking good for the side of DZG. They do get that Drake, which is a positive, but, they got 2 towers destroyed there and that inhibitor. It's just going to be a constant pressure from the super minions on that top side, so they need someone to sit in their base and deal with that, which is just even harder to do when you're so far down.
One good saving grace here is that it is the top lane that was broken into, so Baron Nashor is not going to be able to have cross-map pressure on the current state of the game. DZG also did pick up the Drake. It does put them at soul point, but I don't know, Claire. I do not know if these are going to be factors that can make up for the current state of DZG's game right now.
I'm just not entirely sure that these Drakes are going to be enough. They are just so far behind on that gold side. 9k now could soon be 10k. I don't know if a Drake can come back from that. Just the power and the damage that will be output by the side of Dorado Gaming. So,
well, we are seeing everything kind of just back to the normal game state, but Olaf still hard shoving in on the top side of the map. Really wants. Oh, he dropped the Herald on the
Herald.
Oh my god.
I mean, it just kind of looks like a playground up there for that Olaf. I won't
Oh
even lie.
no! The flash forward from the Xayah, the Cataclysm over the top, Monster
Oh,
Penguin falls, the Rift Herald is smacking the base, it's gonna be Hazim just running in, takes a little bit of the fountain damage. Now it's gonna be Goaty on top, and this game, 20 minutes in, the Nexus is exposed. Now they're gonna be shifting the damage, Hazim will ultimately fall. It's gonna be Goaty taking the gate to get himself out, Sleeping Giant following through. Now everybody's running up in the mid lane here, and Bodhi is on top of Sleeping Giant. Sleeping Giant's in a lot of trouble there, fleeing and will die. Carino picking that one up. DZG with an exposed Nexus. DZG with 2 members down. Baron on the table now, and Dorado looking for some cheeky ways to end this one super early. Won't get it, but damn, they did some damage.
just talk about that Rift Herald value. I think you got 2 charges off on each tower, so I mean, DCGs could not find a way of killing that, and we might see this Baron take here from this Olaf. I mean, not that Olaf, my apologies, that Nocturne and that Zyra. It definitely does look like it'll go down. I'm not
And there's
entirely...
no concern and there's no contest here. This game, theoretically, should be over in the next 4 minutes, and Dorado just putting on a masterclass of how to do chaos. As it was the Ziggs bomb coming in over the top, it looked a little close, but I think Dorado ultimately respected it, waited for the damage, and then cleaned it up after that Ziggs bomb went off. So great discipline from them there, and Dorado just smashing through this game.
Yeah, everyone on the side of Dorado does get that Baron buff, which will be pretty massive, as, I mean, anywhere that they go, they'll just be such an issue.
And let's cycle back all the way to the beginning. We were really, popping a lot of question marks on Carino and Hushimi's picks, or Hoshiuimi. I probably have said it wrong all damn game, or all damn series. Anywho, they haven't been the difference makers. They haven't been the deciding factors. But what I think they ultimately allowed Dorado Gaming to do was flex around things in such a fashion to get themselves a really big, kind of advantage in the draft, which led into the game. But also, it's not like they look uncomfortable on these picks. Carino is flashing forward onto Mobster Penguin, getting the knockup, followed by the Cataclysm on top to get the kill. Dorado just looked comfortable everywhere, despite a few minor missteps. Very solid performance from them in this game, and the series overall.
Yeah, I mean, Dorado just looks so comfortable and so strong on all of the characters that they've been playing. And they've just been farming everywhere throughout this map, taking the entire red side jungle. So, I mean, what can DZG realistically do here?
Maybe cry as J Core will get knocked up. I don't think the follow-through damage is going to be there as the ultimate comes out to dissuade a little bit more of that aggression onto the tower. It's going to be a Baron buff, minions in the mid lane, breaking through this base. They do not have access to the Ziggs this time, but I don't think they need it to shred through, as DZG's base is slowly being chipped away, as they are establishing a very strong posture for themselves in both mid and bot waves, and DZG are just struggling to find a way to defend here, as Mobility Scooter is in a little bit of trouble. Hazim running him down is going to be getting a lot of damage out. The top lane inhib did respawn, and Hazim says, yeah, I want this instead. Sleeping Giant up here trying to look in, but it's going to be the Maokai stolen ultimate coming in the mid lane, and a great use of the Ziggs ultimate coming through to really reduce that minion wave. Goaty is in a little bit of an awkward spot here, has to force to flash out, as just DZG's wave clear is doing so much work for them. They are seeming to look to try to interrupt some of the recalls and maybe strike here, but Drake is up on the map, and I think Dorado just walked that one out, picked that one up, and then reset.
It looks like they're going back to this Hextech Drake, so it will not be the soul for DZG quite yet. Just gonna be picking this one up, getting this bounty off the map as well as while they take this. It does look like the siege did not work too well for the side of Dorado. Couldn't get any more towers or inhibitors, but they did cause a lot of pressure and farm a lot of things while DZG was stuck in their base.
And DZG, yes, credit to them. They have so much wave clear in this roster right now, or this lineup with Sivir and Ziggs. It's going to be really hard to break those other 2 towers. The inhibitor coming back up did help them out a lot as well. And you have to think that the Baron might be needed for the next push into the base, unless some sort of crazy shenanigans really fizzle out here, or kind of explode here rather. And yeah, it's I did say it was going to be over in 4 minutes, but DZG stalling this one out is a testament to the players themselves.
Yeah, no, DZG stalling it out, making sure that they don't venture too far out of that base, just enough to farm waves, try to push them out, and maybe we might see them go and enter their jungle a little bit more. But we are looking at this topside push from Dorado here. Those are 5 players to DZG.
5-man strong. Flash forward from Karina. Does not get the CC there, as it does look like we have somebody going gold there. I think that was Lilia. Now, Hushimi will actually fall. Mobility Scooter picking that one up, and it's going to be Olaf going forward. A lot of damage coming out. Holy hell. J-Core falls. Mobility Scooter is sitting low. Debay is next. Just kidding. Hazim falls. Mobility Scooter will be taking a lot of damage here, and Scooter is unstoppable. It's a 3-for-3 fight right now, as 2 members have died on equal sides. DZG trying to heal up a little bit. It's going to be the inhibitor now. Now, Karina was on a killing spree, did get a little bit of the damage, as was, I think, a stolen Ziggs ultimate coming through. Suitor going forward, gets a lot of damage out on the Sleeping Giant, will be enough to kill. No, he steps on the fountain, gets a little bit of healing back. Cody, gonna be low. You have to think, yes, the burn from Lilia will take them down. The inhibitor did fall, but it's now going to be DZG looking to pick up on Sluter. Sluter falls. Debay getting that kill is massive, but DZG's base is once again broken. DZG's base is once again exposed. That Nexus hanging in there by just sheer force of will from DZG's lineup, as it will be 4 members to 3 that ultimately fall.
Yeah, Dorado not quite being able to deal as much damage to DZG as they would like. All of them were so weak, but with that fountain healing, they could last so much longer. A lot more sustain given out with how much healing that fountain produces. And since they are pretty ranged, they can deal quite a bit of damage from there. But that Nexus doesn't look like it'll be up for too much longer, as this Baron will be coming up here in the next 30 seconds, so definitely something to look at.
The backdoor potential is still very real. Fortunately, Olaf does not have access to the teleport, but Debay getting some of that gold in his pocket is a very good news story for the side of DZG. If there needs to be any sort of comeback now, I do believe it will heavily have to come off of Sivir being able to pump massive damage into the lineup of Dorado Gaming. But Claire, we are now looking at that Baron back on the map, and you have to think, if DZG do not answer it in some way, shape, or form, it is DZG's game over screen, as it has been started.
Yeah, Dorado's here starting this. It does look like most of the players of DZG are backing and or just not trying to contest this Baron. I don't know if that's the right play. I feel like this Baron has to be contested by somebody. That Ziggs going in there a little bit too early, but does get the vision to tell them how many are there. And it will not be contested. So 5 players getting that Baron buff is going to be super rough.
Well, I think DZG took a trip to the zoo and said, I really like turtles, and that's what they're going to try to emulate here today, as once again, we're getting a second turtle strategy out of DZG, but the inhibitor just fell recently. DZG need to really protect the siege, but their towers are already chipped down from the last time that Dorado set this one up. Olaf is not going to be the target here in the top lane. He pops a Ragnarok, dealing massive damage to J-Core, and he's going to be chipping down just a little bit, but it will not be enough. The Ragnarok no longer available, but the mid lane tower will... The next inhibitor is under fire. Olaf still hanging out in the top lane, has access to the Ghost, and Dorado continuing this siege in very defensive fashion. They're being very comfortable. 2 cannon minions are chipping away at it, and DZG can't seem to kill them off. Next inhibitor has to fall soon. Fortunately for DZG, the next minion wave in the bot side will not be here to really apply that pressure, but Olaf is doing a lot of work, has now soon access to the flash again. The ultimate coming out from Maokai will not tag him as he pops the Ghost to get away. The next inhibitor falls. It is going to be everybody alive for either side. The fight may be coming soon as Lilia goes forward. Now, the Nocturne ultimate popped. You have to imagine who's the target. It's going to be right into the back line, and it's going to be Debay taking a lot of damage. Debay will fall. Now, it's going to be the rest of the members of DZG trying to hang in here, as it will be Carino next. Cody falls. Debay, Monster Penguin down. Damage all over the place. Olaf with the double kill, and it's Hushimi's. Yeah, I was going to say hanging by a thread, but he will get that thread cut. J-Core just join into the death party. Mobility Scooter sitting very low. Hazim trying to get this kill onto them as well. Hazim on a rampage with Sleeping Giant, the only member left, and DZG trying to keep this one alive, and will do so. Sluter first. Sleeping Giant. Sleeping Giant is trying to hang in here with the Baron-empowered minions from Dorado Gaming. And just, oh my gods, you have to think this is scary. If Sluter gets the healing back, or gets the Lily ultimate for that matter, he does! He tags in with the ability, he gets the ace, and that is the game. Sluter finishing this one out. Dorado Gaming with a 2-0 win over DZG.
Just so play there from Sluter, being able to just think, use the time super well, letting those mini waves push up before they go in is just so smart, so well played, and just pretty well played from everyone there on the side of Dorado, and just quite destructive.
Oh man, that Lilia damage was high, but Hazim just absolutely demolishing in the top lane. The pressure that he applied in the top lane, the 2v1s, it was just absolutely rough to watch. But yet again, Carino coming in with massive damage on that AP carry in the bot lane was just crazy to watch. Dorado, very well played in both games with just a class on Chaos Theory for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Carino, given let's get some credit down there. I mean, just so well played on these AP ADCs, just being able to find so much damage in those team fights, especially, and just in that laning phase. I mean, just caused such a problem for the for Debay and J-Core core. So it doesn't really matter what they're on. They just seem to be quite the menace.
Well, DZG held out a lot longer in that second game than I would give him credit for, but definitely some things to improve upon for sure before next week. They will be playing again on Thursday. That's not the next time DZG will be back and bring you a stream. It's going to be DZG Elysium coming to you in the Blue Otter League on Wednesday. Excited to bring you that one. Now, real quick, Claire, final comments before we close this one out and we toss it over to a raid.
I just gotta say, I think Dorado played incredibly well, and I think they brought a lot to the table that not a lot of League of Legends like teams or players even think about. So playing such interesting and unorthodox compositions is such a breath of fresh air into the League of Legends scene. I think that's incredibly impressive.
It's painful and fun to cast all at the same time. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking out the Dread Zone stream. We'll be bringing you more Dread Zone action next week. But until then,